Hi everyone, for today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Mercier Secret Camouflage Brighten and Correct Duo. This is a relatively new product in their range, and this is like the baby sister of their Secret Camouflage, the original one that comes in a pan like this. So as you can see here, it has two colors, and you also get two colors here. But the concept of this Brighten and Correct Duo is that one end it's actually for correcting the colors that you see on your under eye area, and the other side here is for brightening. Now I'm so glad that I'm doing this video today because last night I was actually doing some ironing, and while I was doing that I was actually watching Lucifer on Netflix, and I lost track of time and I ended up sleeping at 1 in the morning because I was so involved in the series. So this is a great video for me to show you guys on how to just maybe correct any discoloration in your under eye area, and maybe just to show you guys how to brighten your under eye area and just to create a much more fresh and awake look. This is actually a very great product. I've been using it on and off for the past few weeks for work and also on myself, and it is very easy to use. Now the main difference that I've noticed with the Secret Camouflage Duo is that it's actually creamier, as you can see here. So these are the two products. It's very creamy, it glides and slides easily on the skin, while the main difference that I see with the Secret Camouflage is that this is actually much more drier, and I find that I would really need to warm up the product at the back of my hand before I can apply it on the skin as needed. This offers a very great coverage, but the problem that I have with this product is that I need to warm it up first. Like if I'm shooting in a very cold environment, the air conditioning sometimes just makes it difficult for me to work this. So there are times that I would actually have to run a hair dryer over it just to warm up the product. But this is a very good product. As you can see here, I've had this for 10 years. I don't use this for work anymore, but I just have this in my collection, and I barely made a dent on it because one thing, you really need only a very small amount of product to use this effectively, and the other thing is it's also one of the colors that I rarely use for my clients here in the Philippines. So anyway, back to the concealer stick. This is amazing. It offers the same coverage as the original one, but it's just much more easier to use, and it's much more easier to glide because it's creamier. I don't really want to use this professionally, not unless I have one stick for one client, but that's going to be too costly for me. Now in saying that, this is great for personal use because you can just keep it in your bags. It's very easy to store and it's very easy to handle. It's practically like a pen. You can hold it like a pen, and it's very easy to control around the face, which I'm going to be doing in a minute or two. Now what I like about the packaging is that the cap here offers a very tight seal. It's actually quite difficult to remove it. I'm not exaggerating, which is actually good because it just prevents oxidation from happening on the product. It just prevents all of the ingredients, like the silicones maybe, or some binders, things like that, from evaporating. So I totally appreciate the tight cap on this product. So for the demo, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to apply this product on one side of my face that doesn't have foundation, and I'm going to show you guys how it looks like on face with foundation. Now this concealer duo comes with two products. One is for correcting and one is for brightening. Now don't worry, you'll actually know which product is which because there's actually a label here on the shaft where you hold the product. Now the correcting side is actually much more beigey in color, so that will help really tone down the blueness that you might have in your under eye area. So that's what we're going to be doing first, and I'm just going to apply the product on the areas where I am usually blue. So it's always here in the inner corner of my eye, and then a little bit here, where my supposedly fat sacs are. And then I also want to put some concealer here because I have some creasing there. So putting this product here just lifts my eye and makes it appear less droopy. Now since I don't have any foundation here on my skin, what I want to do is I want to actually shear this out, and I'm going to use a brush for that because if I pack on so much of this product and I don't have any foundation on, or any other type of makeup on my skin, it's gonna look too obvious because there's a difference in texture. So shearing this out can just really help to minimize the look that you're actually wearing some concealer or camouflage in your under eye area. So as you guys can see, it's instantly brightening my under eye area, and it's really opening up my eyes. And what I'm doing is I'm not really dragging the brush, but I'm just like tapping it gently, trying to blend it well into the skin. Now the Secret Camouflage Duo is actually a very creamy formula. So we have to understand that you have to set this, because if you don't, it will actually crease because it's creamy. That's what cream products actually do, they crease. Alright, and just like that, as you can see, my under eyes is now much more brighter and awake, and we don't see a lot of that blue color that we usually get, like, you know, when we don't have anything. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip the pen over, and I'm gonna use the brightening side, and I'm just going to add that product here in the inner corner, and this will just like really open up my eye some more. And I'm just gonna use my finger to tap the product in. Now because we're layering on two different types of colors, it's actually much better to blend them together by using your fingers instead of using a brush, because this just prevents the products from actually sliding around. So it's actually much more better to layer them this way. And also you can use this when you want to emphasize your brow bone, and I'm just using my fingers to blend it with. So this is what's amazing about this product, is that you can use this in more ways than one. Like for example, if you want, you can even use this to highlight the bridge of the nose, which I don't really want to do because I don't need it. Or there are some people who really like to highlight this part of their face. So I'm just gonna tap it with my finger, and in doing this, it just really like opens up the face. It really opens up the under eye area, and it just makes it much more brighter. So as you can see, it's very easy to use. And you know, if you don't, and if you're someone who doesn't like to use foundation or like any type of product on the skin on a daily basis, and you just want to correct the blueness that you see in your under eye area, this is actually a great product to use. So I actually just want to add some concealer there, and I'm just lightly pressing it with my fingers and blending it well into my cheeks, just so that it opens up my face. So as you can see, the light has just changed, and this is how it actually looks like on my skin when we don't have good lighting. So as you can see, it's actually very natural, and it offers flawless coverage. Now before I'm going to set this with powder, I actually want to add some color in my cheeks, just so we have some color and dimension on the face. So I have here my NARS Cosmetics multiple stick in Maui. I'm just adding a little bit of that on my cheeks, and I'm just going to blend it with my fingers and try to make it melt into my skin. Okay, let's add just a tiny bit more. Alright, I'm quite happy with that. Looks quite natural. So I'm just tapping my fingers just to make sure that everything blends together. Alright, as I've said earlier, it's important you have to set this product because this is a cream product, so this will have a tendency to run or crease if you don't do that. Now since I don't have any other makeup products on my face, I am going to lightly buff some loose powder in the areas where I applied the product. This just helps minimize the shine, and it just makes it stay longer on the face. Now I'm actually using a tinted powder for this. I'm using a Nye Banana Powder because it just works well with my undertone of my skin, and especially that I have some color on my skin at the moment. I have very gentle tan, so this will just really help in making me look much more healthier, because sometimes if I put like translucent white powder, it tends to make me look ashy a tiny bit. Alright, and oh, by the way, I have a blemish here. So I'm gonna get the pen again, and I'm going to be using the correct side, and I'm just tapping it into the blemish. Then I'm gonna use my finger, and I'm just going to make sure that it melts into my skin. And then I'm just gonna get the brush again that I used with the powder, and I'm just going to set it lightly. Now I'm not gonna set powder all over my face because I actually like all of this radiance that's going on just from my sunscreen. So this just really helps in making it look very natural, making it look very healthy, and making me look quite awake without wearing a ton of makeup. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be applying foundation on this side of my face, and I'm going to be mixing these two colors together just so that it kind of plays up with my tanned skin a bit. No, it's not tan, but I just have a little bit of color And mixing these two together, in my experience, just really helps, like, you know, lessens the appearance of ashiness on my skin. Okay, so this is a radiant foundation from Mercier, and I'm using this because you've noticed the sunlight changes as we go along, as we make this video. And putting on like this radiance foundation just helps in, like, you know, picking up the light and reflecting the light off and just making me look radiant and alive and awake and less ashy. Okay, so I'm just putting on a very thin layer and I'm just blending it well. And with the same process that I did on the right side of my face, I'm just going to start by applying the corrector in the inner corner of my eyes, here where I have a crease. And this time I'm going to be using my fingers for this. And I'm just going to tap it into my skin and blend it, making sure that it actually melts into my skin. And since I have foundation on, I can be a little bit heavy-handed when I'm applying this concealer because I already have texture on, and it will also help, like, you know, make you appear to have a much more flawless looking skin. Okay, I'm just gonna add a touch more here where I'm usually blue. You can also use a sponge for this, by the way, but I just prefer to use my fingers because the warmth of my fingers just really helps in blending and spreading the product well into my skin. Okay, and I have some redness here around the nose. You can also do that. Then we can cover some of the spots that we see here on the nose. Again, I'm just tapping with my fingers. You know, it's actually very easy. Like, you can actually do this in less than 10 minutes. Like, if I'm not making this video, I would have been done already, because it's actually very easy to handle. And I think this was actually designed to be used for like regular folk, because you know, we don't really have time. Like with the original Secret Camouflage 2-pan concealers, you really have to take time to blend it and to build it like on a palette or at the back of your hand before you start applying it on the skin. But with this product, it is designed to be used by, you know, regular folk that's always on the go. So you can do this, like, you know, when you're at the back of the cab or at the back of an Uber and you don't have time to put your makeup on at home. This is a great product to use, just, you know, to spruce up your look. Or if you want to touch up at the end of the day, just if you have like a nice dinner out or if you have a date, this is a great product to use, and it's very light. You can also keep it in your bag. Oh, and one other thing, by the way, you can also use this to correct your lip shape. If you're someone who wants to do that, you can actually use this around your lip area and you can just like blend it into the shape that you want. Again, very easy to use, very easy to handle, very easy to apply. Okay, now with the brightening side of the pen, I'm just going to apply the product here into my inner corners. And I'm gonna use my fingers again, and I'm just going to blend it well into my skin, just so that it brightens up that area, as you guys can see already. I'm also gonna bring that down here on the side of my nose. Then I'm just gonna use my fingers to tap it in. And one thing also that I've noticed with the Secret Camouflage Brightening and Correct Duo, it really creates that very nice soft focused look in your under eye area. So it has brightening ingredients that can really help neutralize dark colors. Alright, and I think I want to add a little bit of some of the product here on my brow bone, just for emphasis. And I don't really like putting on concealers and camouflage as an eye base, because they will always crease, because these are cream products. And the thing is, with our eyes, we have that fold here, and because of the constant blinking, this just creates heat. This just makes everything smudge in the eye. So that's why I actually prefer to use an eye base instead, because it actually holds the eye products much better. Alright, so this is how my skin looks with a little bit of Radiance Foundation and the Secret Camouflage Brighten and Correct Duo. It's making me look very healthy. It's also making my skin look very natural and more wide awake. Now I'm gonna set everything with powder, but before I'm gonna do that, I want to add some color into my cheeks. So this will just add some freshness, and this will just make me look more awake, ready to tackle the day. Now, Mercier had a product called Secret Brightening Powder. This is not how it is packaged, by the way. It came in a packaging like this. And this is actually made of white powder, which has a lot of shine and shimmer in them. And this is what they actually promote to set the secret camouflage in your under eye area. Now, as you can see here on the bottle, it is very white. So here it is. When I look at it on the pads of my fingers, there's actually some shimmer in them. And because I've used this product for a very long time, if you are someone who's going to be in an area wherein there is flash photography, do not use this because the flash will reflect back and you'll have this white stripe in your under eye area. But for everyday use, this is actually perfect because this just really helps to blur any lines in your under eye area. But you have to make sure that you press it well into the skin so that it doesn't crease. Now, because of the reflective nature of the brightening powder from Mercier, what I've actually done in the past few years is that I actually mix this with a tinted powder. So this is my Nye Banana Powder that I actually decanted into this bottle again, which is actually labeled. So I actually mixed these two colors together, like in a 60% banana powder and 40% brightening powder, just so that it minimizes that reflectivity. And because this is white, adding this yellow tone powder can just really help in working with the undertones of my skin. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mix these two together. So I have those two here on my palette, and I'm just going to be mixing that with a palette knife, making sure that they are blended well together. And with this brush, this is a flat brush. This is actually the brush that Mercier sold years ago, which they don't make anymore. Or maybe they do, but I think they redesigned it. I have a ton of these brushes with me, and this is what they actually tell you to use when you want to set your under eye area. So I'm going to load the powder into the brush tip, and before I lay the powder into my under eye area, I'm going to go back into the mirror and to check if there's any creasing. And if I do see any creasing going on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my finger and I'm just going to lightly press it so that the creasing gets removed and it gets blended well into my skin again. And then when I'm happy with that, I get the brush here and I gently press it in my under eye area and on the places where I had actually applied the secret Camouflage Brighten and Correct Duo. So I'm also going to apply that here on my brow bone, my nose. You can't really see it, but you know, when I'm looking at the mirror, I can see like small shimmer on top of my skin, and this is the one that actually reflects the light, making sure that it looks like you have a very flawless under eye area. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set the rest of my face with a little bit of this banana powder, just so it will minimize that shininess going on. Alright, so I'm done putting on makeup on the left side of my face, and so this is how it looks like. This is how the secret Camouflage Brighten and Correct Duo appears when I mix it in with some foundation and makeup and powder. So it's making me look very flawless and very even, but what I like is that it's not actually making me look very starkly different from on the side of my face where I have the secret Camouflage Brighten and Correct Duo on and some cheek product. So this is what I really like about the secret Camouflage Duo and Brightening Correct, is that it really helps in just creating a very fresh looking under eye area. And it's multi-use also. You can also use this, like, you know, to cover blemishes. I think I've done that in one of my previous videos where I covered one of my blemishes with this product. Alright, so this is it for me today. I hope that you enjoyed me showing you guys how I use the secret Camouflage Brighten and Correct Duo. Again, remember, less is more. So if you have any more questions about the products that I use today, please leave them down in the comments box below and let's have a conversation about this. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're having a good day wherever you are. Bye bye.